Hello, everyone. So, I wanted to talk about political theater. So, anyone who's been paying the least bit attention to the Republican Party and the right wing for the past, at the very least, 30 years, um, we've already noticed this. But for those who are new to um, paying attention to politics, this may not be obvious. But um, the uh, the Republicans, okay, there was this legislation to basically remove the burden of proof from uh, from members of the military, prior members of the military, veterans, basically, uh, to remove the burden of proof between them and getting the uh, getting the necessary medical coverage. Basically, has to do with burn pits in Iraq and Afghanistan. Uh, the U.S. government, in their infinite wisdom and their lack of concern for the environment and for the people of Iraq, Afghanistan, and the world, and their lack of concern about the troops, um, all of the waste material, garbage, plastics, paper, even human waste, would be put into pits and would be using jet fuel of all things, um, it would be burned. And they created burn pits. Well, we're finding out now that a lot of the soldiers who were exposed to this, basically most, if not all of them, who were in that general vicinity, um, the encampment where their base, they were exposed to all of these toxic chemicals, chemicals which now we're finding out are causing cancers, respiratory problems, this kind of thing. And I have another kind of related story that I'll talk about later. But basically, um, all of these veterans who are now experiencing health problems related to being exposed to these burn pits, for years they've been trying to get the necessary, through the VA and whatnot, they've been trying to get the necessary health coverage, to deal with all of these ailments. But they've been getting denied in part because there's this burden of proof. They have to prove um, that their current health issues are related to these burn pits. Well, there was this bipartisan legislation which was supposed to go through. Everybody was going to vote for it, but because the Republicans are spiteful, short-sighted dickheads, they voted against it and um, voted against veterans out of spite to get back at the Democrats. Yeah. Um, this is not new. The Republican Party has been voting against veterans for a long time. They've been hurting veterans for a long time. See, here's the thing. There are common things that the Republican Party uses to con people into voting for them out of uh, fear or whatever. And this is very common of right-wing authoritarians everywhere throughout history. They all use nationalism of one kind or another, um, and fear mongering and all this other shit uh, to appeal to the worst instincts in the dumbest people. Um, Now, the fact that the Republicans voted against the troops yet again um, only goes to further support and prove one thing: that the Republican Party uses the United States, the flag, the American flag, the troops and the military, and the cops as props in their political theater, all the while voting against things that could actually help the United States, the military, the cops, you know. Of course, when it comes to militarizing the cops, you know, there's no amount of money that the United States won't spend. But that's a whole other issue. To anyone who's been paying attention, the least bit of attention, this kind of thing has been obvious for a long time. Now, I'm not one of these rah, you know, support the military, support the troops kind of thing, but at the end of the day, I may disagree with the actions of uh, a lot of soldiers, just from what I've seen and heard, and I may disagree with the politics of a lot of soldiers, again, from what I've seen and heard. Um, and I disagree with a lot of the actions of the military, but the military, especially the people, you know, the boots on the ground, are people, and these people were mistreated. They were treated as disposable by the military and the United States government, and that's not okay. It's not okay with me that anyone is mistreated or treated as disposable by any entity, governmental or otherwise. So when it comes to giving these people the care that they need because of the negligent actions of the United States military, hell yeah, remove all the burdens from these people and get them the care that they need. I'm for universal health care. I think that health care is a right, not a privilege. It should not be a fucking privilege in a country that is supposedly free like the United States. We're not really free. Just watch any video about the police on the internet that isn't created by some right-wing uh, oligarch-funded tool. So, if you really pay attention to the types of things that the Republican Party says, um, and how often they say it again, again, again. You know, it was like 9/11. Every single day, 9/11, 9/11, 9/11, 9/11. They would use that to justify all kinds of authoritarianism and abhorrent acts and undermining of our rights and freedoms. So the entirety of the Republican Party, their platform is bullshit. It's all political theater, all meant to make you afraid of speaking out or make you afraid of some fake boogeyman or some minority. So, um, this is one of the many reasons that I fucking hate Republicans. Now, if there's somebody out there who used to be a Republican and they realized this and they said, well, I'm not that anymore, hey, great. You know, that proves that you have some degree of intellect. Um, but there is still a lot of fucking people out there uh, who, you know, tens of millions, who none of this matters to. I mean, January 6th, all these assholes tried to overthrow the government, and who did they hurt doing it? Who were the ones guarding uh, the crooked politicians? The cops. All the cops that were hurt on January 6th, hurt by Republicans who supposedly support the police, and who think Blue Lives Matter. Well, that's the thing. Blue Lives Matter is just a racist a oppositional catchphrase to oppose Black Lives Matter, because God forbid that a marginalized minority, speak out against injustice. But yeah, it's just so fucking obvious, you know. Um, and on top of that, now I was not really aware of the burn pits until a couple of years ago, but I knew someone who went into the military, and I had heard stories from the mid 2000s, 2006, 2007, about how the United States military in Iraq and Afghanistan was using depleted uranium as ammunition. And so all of those soldiers, military personnel who were handling all of these munitions were being exposed to depleted uranium, which of course is toxic. And this person whom I knew developed respiratory problems. Well, he got in on a class action lawsuit against the military, the government, and he got like hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now, that guy is a child molester, so I'm kind of like, well, fuck him anyway. But that also happened. Depleted uranium. And there were no precautions taken, because the United States government treats soldiers, treats their citizens as disposable. We're either revenue, actually, we're both revenue and we're disposable. Now, the PACT Act finally did go through, but yeah, every step of the way the Republicans prove how awful they are and how little they give a shit about the troops and cops. And yet these two groups are filled with people. The military and the police are filled with people who vote Republican. What kind of fucking sense does that make? These people have consistently, everybody who votes Republican, unless they're a part of the top 1%, they're voting against their own best interests. This has been proven time and time again. So part of the problem is that these people don't pay attention to politics, at least not the politics that would actually inform them. So these assholes are going to continue to vote against their own best interests, and then they'll bitch about liberals, who those liberals then turn around, and when the right-wing authoritarian government has treated these soldiers as disposable, those soldiers will then go out and take full advantage of all of the legislation and all of the good things that liberals have brought them. Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, police, firemen, these are all socialist. All those things are brought to you by socialism. These right-wingers, socialism is evil, then don't ever fucking collect Social Security. Do not ever fucking drive on a public highway. Don't ever fucking call the cops or firemen, and don't ever fucking join the fucking military. It's all socialist. It's funded by the people. It's not private. it's public. Yeah, anyway, I wish that people would pay attention um, to more of this stuff, but sadly, you know, people don't. Anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching.